Alright, so the new Agatha All Along show, it came out, it's releasing right now. It's pretty, like, okay, it's pretty mid, honestly. It's like, it's not bad, it's not good, it's just like, honestly, whatever. Basically, the point is for this video is like, I've been wanting to make this video for a while now, and it's just more so about Disney Plus and how it's been like ruining Marvel, because I feel like with the MCU, people have really been saying it's been going downhill. It's like been like awful. Now I don't think it's been like that extent of like bad, but it has been like on a steady like decline. And with something like with Deadpool and Wolverine, I do think it like helped it very much. And along with that, we have the new Captain America movie. We have Thunderbolts. Both of them look promising. But I just kind of want to have like a look back, like what I feel like the main problem with like Disney Plus is with how it treats Marvel. Because when it comes to Disney Plus, with like all their stuff, we have like Pixar, who's just like they're just doing their own thing, honestly.
Spero che il tuo amico si riprenda. Mi dicono che siete fantastici.
You have Star Wars, which is basically dead because of Disney Plus, I'm not gonna lie. And then we have like The Bear, but I can't count that because that's like a Hulu like FX show. Like what else do we have on Disney Plus? Like Descendants 4, I already covered that. I don't know. Basically, the point is like Disney Plus is honestly harming Marvel. It is really not helping it. I mean, like, and I think the main thing to start off with this is that there's just too much content. Because whenever people talk about like superhero fatigue, in 2021 we had like 4 movies and I think like 6 TV shows all at the same time period throughout that whole year, starting from like January with WandaVision, ending in December with both Hawkeye and Spider-Man running at the same time. So it's just honestly crazy to like admit like there is something as too much of a good thing, and I think with all of these shows coming out back to back honestly did harm the brand. And yes, well, you could say, you know, like the virus and all that stuff kind of like, you know, pushed all these productions back to where they all had to come out around the same time. I feel like there could have been a way to where you could have like worked around it, because it honestly harms the brand. You have show after show coming out like back to back. Even like if they're like top tier, it still hurts the brand because you have all these people just like getting worn down and just watching so much of this. It honestly tends just to like just not even seem worth it. And with that, with how there's just too much content, that's already well known. I think something that's like a major point that people don't really mention is there are just so many like huge events that go on in these shows that it's honestly mind-blowing. Because when it comes to the movies, I think the movies should have like, you know, like the highest stakes and all that stuff. I'm not saying they need to go like multiversal or like world ending, but I think when it comes to TV shows, I think it should be like low scale. And that's why I really enjoy Netflix's Daredevil, and just because it just wasn't like this big like we had to save all of New York. No, it was just focused on like Hell's Kitchen and like those people in it. But in like all of these like Disney Plus shows, most of them are like the world ending. And my thing is like this, you already have like the movies doing these like bombastic like climax like CGI endings. Like I don't think you need the TV shows to always be doing that. Like if you look at most of the Disney Plus Marvel shows, most of them have like some of the biggest like events going on, and it's just like crazy to think of. And I do like the fact that they're all like connected to each other, but I feel like the smaller screen shouldn't be where like this huge event happened, you know what I mean? Even if it's good, like take for example WandaVision. While I do like WandaVision, I think it's one of Disney Plus's best Marvel shows, maybe next to Loki. I kind of flip-flop between which one's better, but the fact that we had Wanda basically turn into a bad guy from a Disney Plus show is honestly concerning. And I'm gonna get into that point later, but my point is this: there's just so many stuff that goes on in the TV shows that it's crazy to think that they had to then tie into the movies. So you're expecting people to have watched that show to then watch that movie. Because like I said with WandaVision, imagine you watched Doctor Strange 2 and you didn't watch WandaVision. You now just have Wanda like as a bad guy, and you're just kind of left to wonder like, why does she want to have her kids back? Who are her kids? Like what happened in Westview and all that stuff. And while I do love that show, it is crazy to kind of have like that like intense amount of knowledge to watch 9 episodes of this TV show on Disney Plus that you have to then pay for Disney Plus. Like, it's just mind-boggling that you have to go through all those steps. And being in mind you, I like WandaVision. I thought it was a really great show, even though Doctor Strange is pretty mid. And honestly, I do want to have a whole like movie like critique of that, because I think that is like the perfect example with my problem with like modern Marvel with like Phase 4. It's just like crazy to think of like how like this huge event of Wanda turning into a bad guy is just like, it basically comes out of nowhere for someone who hasn't seen WandaVision. Because think about this, if you just seen the movies, you just last saw Wanda, you know, saving the day, fighting Thanos, and now she's like, I'm gonna destroy the multiverse. Like, what?
We'll get you back on the lunchbox.
And then also bring up like big events and all that stuff. We then have Moon Knight, which I do appreciate Moon Knight out of all the Marvel shows in terms of what I'm talking about, because it's like on its own, it's doing its own thing and all that stuff. But then the show just like last minute turns into like this big like kaiju like battle, and it's like the fate of the world and all that stuff. And I'm like, dude, this is so like self-contained. You don't need to have it be about like the world ending and all that stuff. And then the big one that I really hate, I made a video on it, but I really hate it. It's the fact with Secret Invasion, because that basically has so many like big like reveals of like people who are Skrulls. And I already stated it in my video, I think the whole concept of it was wasted. But we have, I really hate to admit, I just hate saying this, we literally had War Machine turn out to be a Skrull. And if that's not one of the biggest reveals in the MCU, that's just eventually going to be brushed off, I don't know what is. And it's also the fact that, like, well, spoilers, so I already said Brody was a Skrull, but the fact that they killed off Maria Hill in the show too. Because imagine this, you're like, Maria Hill was never like my favorite character of all time, being in mind you, but the fact that you killed off this character who has been in the films for over 10 plus years, to like cap her off in a Disney Plus show that like not even like a lot of people watched, that is ridiculous to me. And it's so crazy because like people are gonna go like, what happened to Maria? Where is she? And people are gonna have to like remind viewers, well guys, she died in a Disney Plus show. It sucks to suck. And people go like, Maria. And then don't even get me started with Ms. Marvel, because I really wanted to like love Ms. Marvel. I think it's okay. It's like whatever, honestly. But they are never going to address the fact that this show dealt with like clandestine aliens from another dimension. Like, what are these scales? Like, Ms. Marvel is like the most like teenage superhero. She should be like Spider-Man dealing with like day-to-day stuff, not like aliens from like another world. Like, what the
I want the people to know that they still have 2 out of 3 branches of the government working for them, and that ain't bad.
Mars Attacks, directed by Tim Burton, now playing in a theater near you, rated PG-13.
My next point is that basically all of these TV shows basically just feel like movies if you like just short them down. Because this is more so a problem with like modern TV, is that fact that there's just so many like few episodes nowadays. And the fact that most of these Disney Plus shows, being the fact that they have like these high paid actors, these CGI and all that stuff, they have to make it like 6, hopefully 9 episode. So if you look at something like Falcon the Winter Soldier, Ms. Marvel, Hawkeye, or Secret Invasion, you could basically just make them movies. I feel like the only reason why they're TV shows is because they're like lesser known characters. Like with Hawkeye, like Hawkeye is the prime example of what could have been a movie. Like I bet you like the execs were like, man, it's like Hawkeye, so it's like he's not like that big of a deal, so let's just give him like a TV show. And then you have Falcon the Winter Soldier, which I don't know why they didn't even make that a movie. Like that should have been a movie. That is honestly the strangest thing in my mind, I'm not gonna lie. And then with Ms. Marvel, that could have been like just like a lower budget like movie. Like I don't even know why I don't know why they didn't make it a movie. Like it's just so weird, because like the show, it pads itself out so long, it could have been like condensed. But then to speak about Ms. Marvel is how my next major point is that the TV characters, because with Disney Plus and Marvel and all that stuff, all the characters are eventually, gonna bleed into the movies, and they already have. And it's the problem to where like people aren't really gonna feel like attached to these characters because they're just gonna see them as TV characters. Like, as many appearances that they can make in the movies, they're still gonna see them as just like that character from Disney Plus. And I think the Marvels is the prime example of this. I really want to make a video on that one. I don't think I have the strength in me to do it, but I really want to try to do it. But I think that also is like an absolute, like, what the fuck? I'm not gonna lie here, because if you think about it, that movie is just like a bowl of like ideas. Some are good, some actually are okay, but like if you actually look at the movie, most of them are made up of Disney Plus characters and Disney Plus content. Like, you have Monica Rambeau, who is from WandaVision. I'm not counting her Captain Marvel appearance, she was a kid. And then you have Ms. Marvel, who is like a straight original Disney Plus character. And then you have the Skrulls, which weren't even mentioned. And bear in mind you, this show came out right before the Marvels, so it doesn't even make any sense. Like, I remember so many people like talking about like, yo, why doesn't like Nick Fury have his wife like in the movie, and like why are the Skrulls not really being like properly like addressed or anything like that? And it just shows that, one, that there's no connection between the TV, the movies, because there's so much content going on, but being the fact, like, I don't think Marvel knows what they're doing with all the stuff that they had to take care of. Like, I think the only thing that works well with, like, you know, Disney Plus bleeding into the movies was Deadpool and Wolverine. And not even because it was done well, I actually do think it was done okay, but only because it was a driving force to get Deadpool to interact with like the Marvel characters in the Void and all that stuff. So where people like don't really have to like question it, they just have to go like, okay, I understand, let's do this. Because prime example is with the new Brave New World coming out, and I seen the promos and like all the promotional art for this. They have the new Falcon in this, and if you're thinking, what new Falcon? Yeah, that's right, because in Falcon and the Winter Soldier we had Sam's best friend. If you and that's my thing, you don't even remember him. I had to show you that image of him to have you even remember he was a character, and it turns out he's going to be a major player in the movie. Apparently he's gonna have like the full comic suit and all, so it's like, dude, you didn't even remember him. I bet you didn't. I know you didn't care about him. Like, I think the only character that I think is gonna work well from Disney Plus to movie is gonna be John Walker in the Thunderbolts, and that's because I think he's like the only real like interesting character on that team. The point is the fact that I think Disney is now understanding that they can't turn everything into like a Disney Plus thing, honestly. And I think they did learn their lesson with this with Alien Romulus, because that originally was supposed to be like Hulu Disney Plus content, and that made a killer. And I saw that movie in Rome. I saw it like while I'm still like studying abroad, which was pretty cool because it's based off of Romulus and Remus, like a whole Roman tale and all that stuff. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, that's really about it for the video. I don't have a solution for how to fix this. Marvel, I think they might be cooked. Not for the future, but just like phase 4 and 5, I guess, you know, if you want to put it there. I think they're fixing it, hopefully, and yeah, that's really about it. Don't forget to, you know, comment, like, and subscribe. If you like this video, you know, I'm glad you enjoyed it. If you didn't, sorry, I guess. And yeah, that's really about it. See ya.
Is that Bucky?
Who the hell is Bucky?